Welcome to the Long Live Alternative Parties podcast. Today, friends, we have another exciting guest on this podcast like we tend to here. Her name is Jessica, and she's with one of our favorite alternative parties. So welcome to the podcast, Jessica.
Thank you.
Jessica, if we could first get started, first tell us what party you represent and what office you're running for.
Yeah, I'm running for U.S. Congress, and I am running to represent South Carolina's 4th District, and I am the Libertarian Party candidate.
Great. If you could also please give us a brief background sketch of your life.
So I came to the Libertarian Party officially in 2019.
Okay.
But originally, I learned about the Libertarian Party when Ron Paul was making his first run for president back in the early 2000s. I have been involved with the South Carolina Party. I've been involved at the county level as well. I've been a national delegate to 3 national conventions now. And I ran for lieutenant governor in 2022. My original plan after 2022 was to run for governor, but the District 4 is a little bit of a smaller ground to cover, and I felt like it would be a better opportunity to provide representation for my community. So really excited for that opportunity.
Yes. So, if you care to share, would you please tell us what you learned from running that past lieutenant governor campaign?
I learned that, it's not really that I learned it. We all already knew that third parties face a lot of opposition. The system is built for the 2 main parties, the Republicans and the Democrats. I wouldn't say that it was built for that. I think that it was originally established to be a bit broader for representation purposes, but it has kind of morphed into this, 2-party system as we know it. So it does put third parties at a disadvantage. We struggled to get media coverage. So I guess the biggest thing that I learned was how to get out and talk to people, connect with people, one-on-one, and try to make progress that way. So.
Okay, that sounds good. So for your current race, can you please tell us what are some of the big issues in the race?
The primary issues that we're focusing on in this campaign are the ones that I regularly hear from folks in my community, that the things that they express are concerns, such as the cost of living. So we're focusing on the government spending, the national debt, and looking at ways to kind of pare down some of that spending to give relief to folks, because we do find that a lot of people are struggling right now. They're struggling to feed their families. Gas prices are $4.20-something a gallon here in South Carolina, and I know there are many other places where the price of gas is even higher. And no family should ever have to choose between feeding their children and paying their bills, right? And so
Sure.
Looking for ways to cut spending at the federal level, which hopefully will kind of come down to some relief at the local level. And then also, war, foreign policy, military spending, those types of things as well. And really just talking about the way that government spends our money, and how that hurts us as citizens.
Okay, so it sounds like a big focus is government spending in various capacities.
Yes.
Okay, great. So I have a similar question for you, similar yet slightly different. So how do you plan to bring your libertarian vision to this office in the election, and perhaps in the office if you get elected?
Well, if elected, all focus is on putting forward, sponsoring, co-sponsoring, and supporting any legislation that limits government, that
Hmm.
controls spending, that helps to solve for the issue of the national debt. Those are the main things, I think. Looking for legislators who have common goals in that regard, and working with them to hopefully move that needle a little bit. No one person can save the world by themselves, right? And I have no delusions of grandeur. I don't expect to be able, if elected, to go into that office and make it all better in the small term that it would be. As far as libertarian principles, I think oftentimes as libertarians, a lot of candidates are a little too broad in speaking with constituents, and I think that a lot of times we get so focused on libertarian principles and libertarian beliefs that we forget to listen, that we don't listen to our constituents and their needs. And I think that's something that I'm doing, that I'm really trying to do, right, is listen. And once I better understand the challenges that people face and their concerns, then I can use those principles of liberty to guide that discussion in terms of what those solutions might look like. But as it relates to how I would, use my libertarian principles or my personal beliefs or the issues that I think are important, all that pretty much goes out the window when I start a conversation with a constituent, because my goal is not to tell them what they should be thinking. It is not to tell them what is best for them. It is to listen and understand what the issues are that are impacting them and help them understand, and help myself understand what the solution needs to look like so that I can advocate and be their voice, because that's the job I'm applying for.
Okay. That sounds like a good approach. It sounds like what you're doing is you're not going to come in with the libertarian platform like a hammer. Instead, you're going to come in and perhaps use the libertarian platform as a guide, a map to get to the goals that your constituents have for their lives.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. So some of our guests who are running for office, for various reasons, they don't want to talk about their opponents, and others are comfortable talking about their opponents. So if you're comfortable talking about your opponents, would you please tell me your impressions?
Sure. There are two opponents in this race. We have William Timmons, who is the incumbent. He's a Republican. He is from a pretty affluent family here in Greenville, I think 5 generations. And I don't guess he's done not a terrible job, but he hasn't exactly been effective either. He does typically toe the party line. And so that's a problem, I think, for a lot of people. I think a lot of people are waking up to the idea that the party politics, that the red team and blue team nonsense may not exactly be in the best interest of the individual folks that those people represent, right?
Sure.
So he's the Republican candidate, and again, the incumbent. The Democrat candidate is a young lady named Courtney McLean. She's from Spartanburg, just down the road a little ways. She is very young. I think she's currently 25. I believe she'll be 26 at the time of the election. She's a very bright young lady, very impressive. I think she graduated from Howard for her undergrad. And then I believe she got her master's from USC. She's been working in Washington. I believe she's worked with some lobbyists. So she's a very bright young lady, very impressive, and I look forward to getting to know her on the campaign trail. And I hope that, as always, I hope that all of my engagements will be an example of the grace and class with which South Carolinians deserve to be represented. So.
Sure. It sounds like your appraisal of your opponents is fair-minded, so that's good. So South Carolina is a red state, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is. Yeah. They're currently, we have 7 congressional districts in South Carolina. As of right now, 6 of them are red and 1 of them is blue.
Oh.
Unfortunately, Washington has felt it appropriate to hand down a new congressional map. Our Senate this week, we had 5 Republican senators who crossed party lines and voted against it with the Democrat senators. And so we thought that was going to be the end of it. Unfortunately, our governor has called our legislature back to special session to revisit this. So the new map would presumably turn that one district red as well.
Oh, no.
We think, that is obviously the goal of the initiative, right? To really make sure that they clinch that power, which is very unfortunate. It's especially unfortunate because it will, if they pass this districting, it will cost South Carolina taxpayers upward of $2 million. Some estimates I've seen have been as much as $2.5 million because our primaries are only about 3 weeks out. And so all of the money that has already been spent preparing for the primaries, we've already had the early voting, I think some of the military voting, all of those votes, if this is approved, would be scrapped, go out the window, and we'd have to start all over again. And the discussion right now is also moving the primaries to August, which, we would have to reopen the filing fee, so everybody has to go back through, most likely would have to go back through the whole process all over again. And additionally, something that makes it especially challenging for us is that, and for me, in looking at my district, it's going to completely change the demographic of my district. Because right now, my district is the northernmost part of Greenville County. It's the northern, I think, 2/3, and then a big chunk of Spartanburg, most of Spartanburg, save for a little pocket in the northeastern corner. The new congressional districts, as they are drawn, shifts my district down. So I would actually be the bottom 2/3 of Greenville. So I would lose the top half. And it would be the bottom portion of Spartanburg County, south of the I-85 corridor, and then all of Lawrence County, which is all of which is part of its completely different district right now. And Lawrence is a lot more rural than Greenville County is, and so a lot of different interests, a lot of different challenges that those folks face, as opposed to Greenville, which is a more metropolitan area. And so it's really, it's something that we're watching very closely because it could completely change everything in terms of who our folks, who we're trying to represent and what their interests are.
Okay.
So it's all very turbulent at the moment, unfortunately.
Oh, no. Yeah, it sounds like a big mess. Yeah, we hear about redistricting all the time, so this sounds particularly bad because it's in the middle of an election.
Yep.
So what is your strategy? So it sounds like you might have to change your strategy. I was going to ask what was your strategy for contacting your voters. So it sounds like you might have to change your strategy depending on the results of this redistricting.
Well, all of our contact is going to be on the street.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of it is just going to be getting out and talking to people, trying to get some media exposure. I have noticed in this cycle, once I filed to run, my name has already been mentioned in articles, whereas in 2022, we often had to go back to the editors of different media outlets and let them know that they left out a whole candidate in their election coverage. But thankfully, most of the media outlets have included us when they've been discussing the congressional races. So that's been really helpful. But we're hoping that we'll be able to get some appearances lined up where we get that media coverage that helps us get the word out as well and get that visibility within the community.
Sure. So are you doing this by yourself, or do you have a team helping you?
I do right now have a small team.
Good.
We are just getting up and running. We have our website up as of last week, and it is still a work in progress, but we are we're getting it all situated. We do have the ability to take donations, and people can sign up to help. And we also have a really cool tool on our website where people can go and check their voter registration to make sure that they're registered. And if they're not registered, they can actually start the process to get registered to vote. One of the things that we are going to be focusing on in our campaign that we want to talk to people about is making sure our neighbors are registered to vote, and they know where they are going to vote, and they know how they are going to get there, because we want to make sure that everybody has the ability to exercise that right. It is such an important right we have as Americans, to be able to participate in the electoral process. And so I want to make sure that everybody has as much opportunity as possible to be able to do that, to be able to exercise that right and make their voice heard at the ballot box. So we have our website up and running. I have an amazing comms director. Her name is Kelsey Lyon, and she actually helped with my lieutenant governor campaign in 2022. She's worked on a number of campaigns, including the Chase Oliver presidential campaign, as well as the Joe Jorgensen and Spike Cohen campaign in 2020. Yeah, she's pretty incredible. Steve Dasbach is my campaign manager. He also managed the Joe Jorgensen campaign. He's been a national chair of the Libertarian Party, involved at the state level in multiple states. He's been around for a long time, and he is a wealth of knowledge and a wonderful mentor. He does a great job of helping me navigate all of this craziness. And then I have my finance guy, who is also part of the LNC. But he's pretty great as well, and helps me keep things straight. So we're always looking for volunteers to help as we are, starting to implement our strategy, and as we are growing the campaign and trying to get that momentum. So anybody who wants to help can go to my website. It's www.jessica, spelled out, the number 4 SC, as in South Carolina, .com. And they can sign up to volunteer. They can sign up to donate, a one-time donation, weekly or monthly. And that's where they can also go to get updates about our campaign.
Great. Perfect. So I can plan on putting your website in our show notes.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Jessica, we thank you for coming on the podcast today and talking about your campaign.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We wish you all the best in your campaign and also everything else you do in your personal and professional life.
All right. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Bye.